I'm Dr. Rachna Gora Gandhi, Registered MMTSL, Maharashtra Medical Tourism Service Limited. MMTSL is your gateway to affordable and holistic well-being of mind, body, and soul. We offers you a hassle-free A to Z to A service with a world-class medical and wellness infrastructure. Today, we are here not just to talk about normal COVID-19 thing, but to share with you the mini experience of our very own expert, Dr. Avya Bansal, who is a chest physician, consultant pulmonologist, Bombay Hospital, Mumbai. He is a he's a true frontline warrior and a real life avenger who has managed to save many lives during this pandemic. He is indeed a very valuable asset to mankind. So, hello, Dr. Avia, and welcome to our channel. Thank you a lot for taking the time out from your busy schedule to share your experiences during. I know you are driving right now, but really, I'm thankful to you for removing that much of time for us.
No, no. Thank you, Dr. Gora Gandhi. This is really a great pleasure for me to be a part of this. Sorry, because of time constraints and a hectic work schedule, we have to do it when I'm going to work. Yes.
Which is more important is giving time to us. Okay.
Yes.
Now, on behalf of viewers, would love to ask you a few questions. May I?
Sure. Yes, please.
What has been the role of modern medicine in this whole pandemic? And I would ask your personal views based on your recent experiences with managing COVID-19 cases.
So, modern medicine has been the cornerstone of managing the current crisis. Like we know, because of the recovery trial, we have seen that dexamethasone has been useful in reducing the mortality for COVID-19. So we have been using Solumedrol right from the start. And ever since we've got data of the recovery trial, we have switched over to dexamethasone. Also, with the newer antivirals coming into the market, which is favipiravir and typically remdesivir, we have got good hope that we can easily and tackle the disease and get better positive outcomes. We also have new interleukin 6 markers and interleukin 6 receptor in antagonists such as tocilizumab, which reduce the inflammatory and cytokine storm, which has also shown a positive effect on the overall survival of the patients. So yes, it's a good step in the right direction, and I'm very sure we can defeat this common enemy together real soon.
Yeah, thank you. Now I would like to ask you, what is the basic protocol that a hospital follows when someone is admitted to hospital?
So we typically in Mumbai follow the Maharashtra Task Force guidelines, which are very, very specific and classify patients as asymptomatic, mildly symptomatic, moderate, and severe. We do not admit asymptomatic patients. Mild symptoms with pre-existing comorbidities, moderate and severe symptoms are only admitted. We run a battery of tests right from chest X-ray, ECG, all blood work, D-dimer, CRP, ferritin at the time of admission. We do a chest X-ray for all patients, do a rapid antigen test and an RT-PCR. And we also send an atypical pneumonia profile because a lot of patients have a coexisting influenza-like illness, which is typically influenza A or influenza B. And then we start the patient, depending on his severity, on a steroid, low molecular weight heparin, supportive management. And if required, we start the patient on a favipiravir or remdesivir. So this is how we typically approach any patient with a suspected or a positive COVID-19 case.
And regarding admissions and all, it's very smooth, or patient need
It's
to
very
panic?
smooth. No, patients do not need to panic. It's very smooth. There are plenty of beds available. Ever since the BMC task force has come into play, it's all centralized. So there's nothing to worry. Somewhere or the other, the patient will get a bed.
Okay, okay. Irrespective if it's a private hospital or a government hospital,
Yes, yes. That discretion is left up to the patient.
Okay, okay. Now, would like to ask you, what are the various challenges that you and your team are facing while treating COVID patients? Because I
So
think
the
in
biggest
treating,
challenge we are facing, the biggest challenge initially we were facing is we didn't know what to expect in COVID cases. Wearing a PPE was something which we had never done. So now it's been 4 months since we're dealing with this situation and we're pretty used to wearing PPE. So that challenge has gone. But the challenge that the patient's relatives cannot meet them remains. So we have to constantly counsel them over the phone that the relatives are okay, do a video call with them. And also till we don't have a definite cure, we're only treating symptomatically and supportively. There are evidences that certain medicines work, but it's not like a definite cure. So this is still a big challenge which we face.
mhm, okay. And as a reputed chest physician, can you please throw some light on the various pulmonary conditions that you have encountered while treating patients?
So predominantly, COVID is a respiratory infection. It may present as a mild sore throat with an upper respiratory tract infection. It can present as a lower respiratory tract infection. It can go to a full-blown pneumonia. It can cause pulmonary thromboembolism and eventually lead to acute respiratory distress syndrome. So these are the common conditions which we have encountered with typical COVID-19. However, 10% to 20% of all cases have got non-respiratory symptoms such as GI disturbances, loss of taste and loss of smell.
Okay. And can you just throw some light on this cytokine storm? Because nowadays people are saying once you go under cytokine storm,
So cytokine storm is typically an intense inflammatory reaction which happens in the body and eventually leads to an acute respiratory distress syndrome. So in such cases, we have to treat the patient with a lot of immunomodulators. We can either treat the patient with high dose methylprednisolone 500 mg over 3 days, or try the patient with an interleukin 6 receptor blocker, which is tocilizumab, typically given as a 400 mg dose, may be repeated after 24 hours. And the markers for a cytokine storm are hyperferritinemia, fever, raised CRP levels, raised interleukin 6 levels. So that is how we determine whether a patient is in cytokine storm or not.
okay. And can you throw some light on oxygenation thing also? Oxygen therapy, people are getting panicked. They are buying oxygen cylinders at home and keeping
It's not required to buy oxygen cylinders. You have to maintain a saturation. So a cutoff saturation should be 94%. If anything is fine, it's above 94, just stay at home. If it's below 94, don't start self-oxygen therapy because you may not know how severe the disease is and you may get a false sense of security. So please get admitted to the hospital if your oxygen levels are low. Do not self-medicate at home with oxygen concentrators.
Okay, so you would suggest to buy a pulse oximeter rather than buying a
Yes,
oxygen.
a pulse oximeter makes more sense because you can keep monitoring your saturation on a daily basis. For people who are suffering from COVID, asymptomatic patients need not monitor their saturation.
Okay. And Dr. Avik, can we have your viewpoint on the future of the much awaited vaccine, COVID vaccine?
So there are a lot of promising trials and a lot of data has come typically from India and from the West that the vaccine does work. However, till we don't have a phase 3 and a phase 4 trial, we cannot certainly say that how effective the vaccine is going to be. Let's hope that it comes in the near future. A lot of studies are already saying that we have about 20 to 25% herd immunity. So in the next 3 to 4 months, we can expect a 40% plus herd immunity. The minute we reach a 60% herd immunity, the entire population would automatically be immune to the virus and the levels will start falling down at a rapid rate. And this time coincides with the vaccine coming into play, which will prevent a second spike and future cases of COVID-19. So let us see a lot of vaccines, a lot of companies, typically AstraZeneca and Pfizer, along with Oxford and Bharat Serums and Serum Institute of India are coming out with vaccines. Let's hope for the best.
Okay. And I'm sure you're aware of this, but India has one of the lowest fatality rate, that is below 3%, I think. So what are the probable factors you think are responsible for the same?
I think the genetic strain of the virus could play a role. As we know, there are a lot of strains of the viruses, typically G, GH, and everything. So if we have a low mortality and a low virulence strain, that could be a factor. Also, I by the government and the healthcare workers could be a factor. Or our generalized immunity could be slightly better because of viral illnesses being so common in our subcontinent.
Okay. Do you think somewhere that BCG vaccine is playing a role in making this fatality rate low?
No, I don't think so. We do not have enough data to say that BCG vaccine works or does not. I will not recommend anyone to go for a BCG vaccine.
Okay. Because in India, maximum, I think maximum people are taking BCG vaccine, and
it's not recommended. We do not know. People have started taking BCG vaccine right now. We have been suffering from COVID since December, and the cases have been declining in a lot of countries without BCG vaccine. And even in Mumbai, cases are declining and people have not been vaccinating. We are not treating patients with BCG vaccine. So I do not think BCG vaccine has a positive role or has any role in the treatment of COVID-19.
Okay. And would love to ask, what is your one golden message or the takeaway from this video for the whole world at large, I would say?
Please keep wearing a mask for as long as possible. till we are not sure that the virus is taken from its root from every place in the world, I think wearing a mask should be the new normal. Yes, we can get back to our normal lives, get back to our daily routines, but please wear a mask and maintain personal hygiene and keep sanitizing your hands and washing your hands. That's all I would like to say.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot on behalf of MMTS and all the viewers. I would really love to thank you. Thanks, Dr. Avia, for sharing your very insightful experience and helping the world at large to fight this pandemic. So I think
Thank you so
everyone,
much, Dr. Boragandi.
so I think let's everyone join our hands together and crab up together to crush this COVID-19, and MMTSL will always be there for that. So for any medical and wellness assistance, reach out to MMTSL. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Dr. Avia.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.